rise up for the opening prayer. Coming in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. Father, Son, Holy Spirit.
Good morning, guys and girls. How are we doing? All of you all who came last week, put up your hands. Okay. Y'all got a freebie last week. We were not supposed to be having class.
What?
We were not supposed to have class last week.
Right.
We messed up on the reading the schedule, but guess what? Y'all got a free lesson. Did y'all enjoy last week's class?
Yeah.
It was awesome, right?
Yeah.
We learned about Halloween. All right. So when y'all all watched movies about court cases and stuff on TV?
Court? No.
No, court
No,
cases.
my parents say it. I'm not allowed. This is what's that?
You know when you go, but when you go to
Oh
court.
no, I hate those.
Okay, guys. When we go to court,
No.
and if somebody is testifying against us or for us, like somebody has to come, what do we call that person who gives?
Sacrament.
Huh?
Sacrament.
No. We are talking about a court. Okay.
Judge.
In a court of law. In a court of law, if somebody gives testimony, what do you call that person? What do you call him? Okay, let's say the judge is sitting right here, right? Okay, so the judge is sitting right here, and the defense attorney or the other attorney, he says, let me call the first witness. So the person who gives testimony, what is testimony? What is the meaning of testimony? What they saw. So it has to be, what would you call it? What would you call testimony? We would call it proof. Right? Because somebody is giving proof that they actually saw, because it's called, what else they call this? They call it eyewitness, right? Because something they've seen. But in a court of law, the testimony of one is not enough. How many is the minimum that they have to have? Two. So they have to have two. Okay? So if there's two or more witnesses, then the law accepts that as the truth. Okay? What God says is that instead of two, I'm going to double it. Okay? And I'm going to give you 4 witnesses instead of 2. This is the reason why we have 4 Gospels. Okay? Now, what are the names of the Gospels?
God.
The Gospels. The first 4 books of the New Testament called the Gospels. John, okay.
Joseph.
John. Who else? Anyone else?
Jeremiah. Matthew.
Matthew, very good. Okay, we are missing 2 and 3. Very good.
Isaiah.
Luke.
Isaiah. Oh man.
Okay, so we have 4 Gospels, okay? Not necessarily written down in this order, but this is the order that the church has placed the books in the Bible. Okay? Now, how many of y'all know when the Israelites were roaming around in the wilderness, they used to have the setup that God had instructed Moses on how to build, right? And that was what their church was, correct? But they used to call it the what? What would they call it? They would call it the tabernacle. Okay, later on, the tabernacle, this word, it actually means tent. That's what it means, tent. What do you do in a tent?
Sleep.
You sleep, what else do you do?
Hide.
You live in there. You meet because you're sitting and having dinner together. So it's a place of, it's called the tent of
meeting.
The tent of meeting, because this is the place where who is meeting?
God.
God and who?
Jesus.
God and
You.
and us. That's why it's called the tent of meeting, because God, we are meeting with God in that place. Do you understand? Okay.
He dropped something.
Now, did you all get all the notes down, or did I wipe it out too fast?
You wrapped it all too fast.
I wiped it off too fast. Okay. Alright, I'll slow down. Okay, so this is how in the Old Testament, when the Jews were roaming around in the wilderness, or the Israelites were roaming around in the wilderness, this is how God said that they had to come to offer sacrifice and to meet with God in that place. Okay, so first of all, let's say, how would I put it? For the entrance, okay, they would have a big tent. Like, not a tent, but they would have like a big sheet or a board. Okay, so like if this was, say, this is the entrance, they would have something starting from here and going all the way over here, but it would be an opening here and an opening there. Do you understand? So if the people wanted to come, they couldn't stand here and look inside. They would have to walk to this side. They would have to walk to this side and they would have to come in like this. Do you understand? Or if they're standing here and there's this is a big, like a wall blocking it, they can't see inside, they would have to come. There would be a door, an entrance here, and they would come in this way. Okay, is it making sense? So you couldn't see inside, standing out here facing it. Why? Because there's something in the way that's blocking it. Alright? So you can come from this way or from this way, and then you enter. So this is how I would explain it to you, okay? So you walk in from here or you walk in from here. Making sense? And this is in the front blocking the way so you can't see inside. The height of these walls, the height of it is so high that you can see and you can jump up to see inside, okay? You can jump to see inside, it's high. So now say once you come inside, the first thing you see over here, this is called a brazen altar. Okay, so what is the altar? It's basically a built-up barbecue pit.
Wow.
Okay, so that's what it is. It's a built-up on a high pedestal. It's a built-up barbecue pit. And on the top here, you have the grates. You have the grates. And the priest would have to come up here and they would lead the lamb up on a ramp. Okay? So say somebody brought a lamb to sacrifice, it would be a ramp going to the top, right? Underneath here was a fire. And they would have four horns, or four things that would be sticking out, like they would call it the horns, right? On the four corners of this, there would be four horns. Okay? And so the priest would come up here. The first thing that you would do is that when the people came into the temple, they would bring a lamb, okay? A lamb, an animal, to be sacrificed. Okay, you know what a sacrifice means?
Yeah.
What?
Kill.
You're going to kill the lamb, right? Okay, so what is the first thing that the priest would do? Okay, first of all, why am I bringing a lamb to the temple? Why am I doing that? Sacrifice for what? What is the reason? Why am I sacrificing it? Huh?
Something wrong.
What?
Something wrong that you did.
Okay. So it could the lamb is representing me and my family. Okay. So when I come to God, I'm bringing the lamb and I'm telling God that instead of me paying for my sins, I'm offering this lamb in exchange for the sins of me and my family. So the lamb is going to pay for me, right? And he's going to pay for my kids and for my wife. You understand?
Yeah.
So somebody else is paying for me. Alright? So did the lamb do anything wrong?
No. It's
No.
the person that did
The person that did the wrong, but because of what you did, somebody else is going to have to die. Do you understand? So when I bring the lamb has to be perfect, without any birth defect, without any scratches, without any eye missing or a leg missing or some fur missing.
It has to be
It
perfect.
has to be perfect. So what was the first thing if I bring the lamb? I bring the lamb and I come and I'm giving it to the priest. The first thing the priest will do is that the priest would
Kill
he would inspect the lamb.
him. Check.
Okay, so he would have to inspect the lamb to make sure that the lamb is perfect. Alright?
It's perfect.
After he's checked that the lamb is perfect, then the priest would accept that sacrifice, right? And then what the priest would do was that the person who's offering the lamb would put his hand on the lamb's head and push into the lamb like he's pushing all his sins into the lamb. So it's like a transfer of all my sins, and I'm representing my family. So all my family sins and all of my sins are going into the lamb.
That is crazy.
Alright?
Wow.
And then the priest would walk up the ram. He would walk up the ram, he would kill the lamb, and they would collect some of his blood in a bowl. And then they would take the blood and they would put it on the four horns of the altar. Now there were different kinds of sacrifices, okay? One was called a burnt offering. Burnt. So when you see burnt, what does burnt mean?
You burn it.
You burn it. So the skin and all the inside parts were taken, wrapped up, and they were taken outside and buried. Or the rest of the lamb, okay, with no bones broken, was taken and the whole lamb was put onto the barbecue pit and it was burnt. Completely burnt, okay? So it would burn and burn and burn until what was left? Nothing but ashes, and the ashes would fall down. You understand? The other kind of sacrifice was called like a peace offering or a guilt offering. And what they would do in that case was that they would cut the lamb. They would cut the lamb, sacrifice it, they would save the blood, but then the carcass of the lamb was given to the family. And what the family would do would do what?
Eat it.
They would go barbecue it and have a barbecue party.
I
So
knew.
all the family would enjoy the lamb. Okay?
Yeah.
Is it making sense so far?
It's making sense.
But you say that they put
It's
all
nasty.
these things in the shape. What is it?
That was for the burnt offering. Okay, then there's a peace offering. A peace offering is where you want to come and make peace with God. You understand? So it's a sin offering. One is a sin offering, one is a peace offering. Alright, so there's 5 different offerings, okay? So don't get confused. So you're not putting all your sins in this offering into the lamb and then eating all the sins back again. It's not like that. You understand? This is the offering where we are making peace with God. No more. Don't do that. Okay, so pay attention, because if you all don't understand this, it's going to get confusing. Okay, so we got it down so far. So now the priest is coming here and the priest is cutting the lamb, right? And when you cut the lamb's throat, what happens?
It's dead.
It's going to bleed, but the blood goes everywhere, right? So the priest is going to have blood on his hands and everything, correct? So the priest cannot walk around with blood on his hands, so what would he need to do?
Wash your hands.
He would need to wash. So right here would be a brass, made of brass. It's called a brass laver. And what was in here? Water. And the priest would go in there and he would wash his hands and clean himself. Now here we have another room. So all the people, that's all of us, were only allowed in this part. Okay, we were only allowed in this part. We are not allowed to go in here. Who's allowed to go in here?
Priest.
The priest. Now this part is divided into 2. Okay? Now all of the priests are allowed to go in this part, but only one priest is allowed to go in here.
The masterpiece.
And he was be called the
Masterpiece.
High.
The high priest.
The high priest.
You understand? So far is this making sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, how many tribes were there in Israel? How many tribes?
12.
12. The tribe that Moses came from, what was that tribe called? It was called the tribe of
Land.
Levi. Okay, and God said that this tribe, from this tribe of Levi were going to be all the priests. Okay, so to be a priest, what was the first requirement? You had to be from the tribe of
Levi.
Levi. But in Levi, there's many families. Okay, so you have Moses. So could Moses and any of Moses' children, could any of Moses or Moses' children or his descendants be a priest?
Maybe.
Why? What tribe is Moses from?
Levi.
From the tribe of Levi. So all of Moses' family and their children and their children's children and their children's children. Could they be a priest?
Yes.
Yes, because Moses is coming from the tribe of
Levi.
Now Moses had a brother and his brother's name was Aaron. Okay, and God told Aaron that only Aaron and the descendants of Aaron could be. That means all his kids and his kids' kids and his kids' could be what?
High priest.
So only the descendants of Aaron could be
High
high
priest.
priests. So the descendants of Aaron, are they from the tribe of Levi?
Yes.
Yes, they are from the tribe of Levi, but only his descendants can be a high priest. Can any of Moses' descendants be a high priest?
No.
No, why? Because he's not a descendant of Aaron. Is it making sense? Do you understand? Yes. So, in this part, this whole place is called the holy place. Okay? Is it all making sense to you all so far? Okay, this is called the outer court. The outer court, okay? And then inside here, this is all covered up with tents and curtains and stuff like that, okay? This place is divided into two. So this part right here is called the holy, this whole thing is holy, but this is called the holy place and this is called the holy of holies. Do you understand? So far making sense. Now in this place, there were 3 items placed. Okay? And in this place, only 1. Now in here, let's see what's in here. Okay? So this is the entrance to this part. Okay? It's all one part, but there's a thick curtain in here. So the curtain is so thick, it's like that thick. Like there's a sheet upon sheet upon sheet upon sheet, all bunched together to make one thick curtain. Okay? So can you tear something like that? No. When you take one piece of cloth and you stitch another piece of cloth and another piece of cloth and until it's about that thick, there's no way to tear it. Correct? And that's the curtain. We call it the curtain, but in the Jews would call it the veil. The veil, okay? Just keep that in mind. That's called the veil, alright? Now on this side right here, okay, so just think of it like they had 3 tables placed in here. This is the entrance, and this entrance is this one right here, okay? It's this entrance right here. Now only the priest, just remember, only the priest or the high priest can enter here, okay? Nobody else, none of the people allowed to go in there.
Why?
Because God said so. That's why. Okay? So everybody with me so far?
Yeah.
So in the outer part, there's 3 tables, right? On this table right here, this is called, it's called the, okay, so this thing right here is also called the altar, right? But here is the sacrifice that's being killed, right? That's where the sacrifice is, right? The barbecue pit, remember? Okay, but this is also called an altar, but this is called the altar
Holy.
of incense. Okay, any of y'all know what incense is? If y'all go to the grocery store or gas station, you'll see those incense sticks that they burn.
Oh, that.
Yeah, it's for smell, right? But that's a smell because it's made with the gum from trees. What they do, they go to certain trees and they cut the tree, and the tree brings out sap. And from that sap, they make the sap hard, and then they put some chemicals in there and they make it into incense sticks. Okay? And when you burn the incense, when that smell goes up, that smell is very pleasing to God. Okay? God says that that smell is pleasing to Him. That's how we know. Because God said so. Okay? God said that that smell is pleasing to me. Now, what is called the incense that goes up to heaven, this is because we can see spiritual stuff. So God has to explain it to us in physical stuff so that we understand. We see physically so we can understand a spiritual truth. So God says that the prayer of the martyrs, what is a martyr? Somebody who has died for Jesus or died for Christ. They have been killed. When their prayers go up, God calls that incense. You understand so far? Now the high priest would come in this place and he would burn incense, right?
Yeah.
He would burn incense so that the smoke would go up to heaven, right? There's no light in here because there's a different light. It's not a light where you can see the light like from the sun. It's covered from the light of the sun. There's another light in here, but I'm going to explain that to you. But do you understand the table of incense so far?
Yeah.
So the priest would come in there in the morning or in the evening and he would burn the incense, right? Right? Because they would also be sprinkling blood in here and the blood has a stink or a smell or a stench to it, right? So to cover that smell, they would burn incense to keep this place smelling nice. You understand? Alright, so on this side of the table, on the right, it's called the table of showbread. Table of showbread. Okay? So, think of it like this. This is the table. And they would put, okay, how many of y'all know what flatbread is?
Flatbread.
Flatbread?
Flatbread is like what you eat a
Oh,
gyro on.
flatbread, yeah.
Okay, it's like a little round piece of bread, but it's flat, right? It's not like a loaf of bread. You understand the difference?
Flatbread.
Hey, everybody, do you all understand the difference? Yes? So the round flatbread, they would take six, each flatbread is called a loaf, okay? Even though it's not a loaf like the way we think of a loaf. But they take 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They put 6 on one row and 6 on the other row, right?
Yeah.
So how many do we have?
12.
12. Why do we have 12?
It's a lot.
Because each of the flatbread represents
12
the 12 tribes of
Levi.
Israel, not 12 tribes of Levi. There's 12 tribes of Israel. One of the tribes is Levi. Don't get confused, okay?
Oh, I get it.
Okay, there's 12 tribes.
Oh,
Levi is only one.
one.
Of the tribes. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, one of the tribes one of the 12 tribes is Judah.
Yeah.
Okay, Simeon, Issachar, all right, Joseph, Benjamin. Those are all the 12 that make up the 12 tribes. Do you understand?
Yeah.
All right. Also, on this table, not only do we have 12 of these flatbread, but there's also a flask for wine and a flask for water. Okay, where is that? What does that all remind us of?
God's blood.
Reminds us of church, right? When we go to the altar and they have the bread and the wine and the water. Yes? Okay. So what's on the third table? The third table has got a candlestick. And it has 7 branches. And this is lit all the time with oil. And they have a wick. So it's like a, what do you call a wick? Like a little piece of thin rope that comes from the top and it goes and it's hanging into the oil. So the oil seeps up the rope and they burn it. Okay? But what happens is that when the rope keeps burning, on the top it starts forming a hard scab. So the priest has to come and trim that wick. So he cuts off the hard part and so the wick can keep burning. Okay? Is it making sense so far? Alright. So just remember, when we come into this altar, when we come into the tabernacle, and we are entering the tabernacle, right?
Yeah.
This is the way we are entering, right? This is the way God comes. Okay? So this is the way we come, and this is the way God comes. Okay? So when you look over here, we saw the 3 tables. So one of the tables was what? Table of showbread, correct? The other was the table of incense. And the third one is the candlestick, right? So far okay? Now if you look at these 3 items in here, it also is a representation of the three, how many persons in one God? 3 persons. So how do these 3 tables represent God? The light is the Holy Spirit. Okay? The bread, because Jesus came physically. So the bread, the table of showbread represents Jesus. The incense is smoke. That's the Father, because we can't see Him. It's something we can't put our mind to. There's nothing there. Smoke goes everywhere. It's like it's not tangible. You understand? Now in here, in the Holy of Holies, there was a 3.5 foot piece of like a box that had handles, and it was called the Ark of the Covenant. Okay? And again, in this part only, who can come in here?
The priest. The high priest.
The high priest. Very good. Only the high priest can enter here, and he can only come in once a year. Okay? On the Day of Atonement. He comes in here because he comes in with the special blood of that animal that they kill only once a year on this altar, and they take the blood, and the high priest alone can come in here, and he will sprinkle the blood on the mercy seat. Okay? So, have you all got everything written down so far?
Yeah.
Can I erase it? Some of it?
Yeah.
So this is the ark, right? And over here, I'm not very good at drawing, so please don't laugh. Okay, so there's 2 angels here, and their wings are covering. Okay, so if you see the angel, he's going like this, and the other angel from this side, and he's going like this. Okay, so the wings are touching, and the wings are covering the ark. Okay, the ark, the seat. There's a lid on top here, and this lid is called the mercy seat. Okay, and they would come and they would sprinkle blood on this mercy seat to keep the lid closed. Inside the ark, again, inside the ark were 3 objects. Okay, you know what was in the ark of the covenant? They had the 2 tablets of stone. What were the 2 tablets?
The 10 Commandments.
The 10 Commandments, very good. So you have the 10 Commandments. Then you would have a bowl, and in the bowl was the bowl of manna. Who knows what the manna is? It's called bowl of manna. Manna.
I've heard of it, but I never.
The bowl of manna. Manna means what is it? What is it? Okay. When the Israelites were roaming around for 40 years in the desert, in the wilderness, God would send manna from heaven. Okay. When it came falling on the dew. Why it came falling on the dew? Because it would not touch the ground, because it was holy. So the dew would be on the ground and the manna would be on top of it. It looked like little wafers. Okay? Looked like little wafers, and it tasted like coriander. Like sweet coriander.
What is that?
Go ahead. So, you have to ask your mom what that is. I can't explain it to you. Alright, so it tasted like coriander, it was sweet, and the Israelites would collect that in a bowl, and they would eat the manna, and that was their meal. Okay, so God provided them food every day. So all of you all know what the bowl of manna is?
Yes.
So one of the bowls, the bread was collected and it was placed in this ark forever and ever. Okay, the other item in the bowl, in the ark, was the 10 Commandments. And one last item, there was a rod. Remember we were talking about Aaron?
Yeah.
And Aaron had a rod. And Aaron used to walk, and in the desert you'd walk and you'd have the rod to help you walk. And all the people started arguing with Moses that, oh, how come you chose him to be the high priest? Right? Is it because he's your brother and you're showing favoritism to him? So Moses said, no, I'm not. I chose him because God told me to pick him, right? So they said, no, you've chosen him because he's your brother. So the fight started between the Israelites. And they said, we want to be the high priest. Why are you picking him? So God told Moses that what I want you to do is I want you to bring all the people that want to be the high priest and tell them to come in front and stand. So all of them came and stood. So then God told Moses to tell all the people, whoever the person was who wanted to be the high priest, he said, tell all those people to take their rods and give them to you, and you take the rod and throw it inside this part. Okay? So they came and they threw the rod into the tabernacle. Alright? And then God told them, go home. Go back to your tent and go to sleep, and in the morning wake up and I'll show you who's going to be the high priest. So the next morning all the people came back, and the people that were fighting to be the high priest, and they were fighting against Moses and against God, because they were actually saying that they were not accepting who God had chosen, right? So they were against God too. So when the next morning they came into this, Moses went and brought all of the rods out, and everybody knew who their rod was, which rod was theirs. Now, when you go to a tree, and you cut a rod off from the tree, what happens to the rod?
It falls off.
It falls off. What else happens to the rod?
It breaks.
It breaks. What else happens to it? It's dead. It's dead, right? Because it's no more attached to the tree. Now, when Moses brought all the rods out, all of the rods were dead except for Aaron's rod. Aaron's rod, overnight, by a miracle, it had flowers, blossoms, and fruit. So it was an almond rod. The rod was made of almond, and the rod actually had fruit on it. So was that possible? No, because the rod is not attached to the tree, so they know that this is from God, that God is the one who chose Aaron, right? But what else was it a representation of? Yes, but how? Because when the rod was cut from the tree, the rod was what? Dead. And the rod came back to
Life.
just like Jesus. It was showing us a picture of the resurrection. Do you understand?
Yes.
And then what else was in this book? What else was in this ark? So Jesus, the rod represented Jesus coming back to life, correct? What else was in here? The bowl of manna. What is manna? Bread. And Jesus said, I am the bread of life. So did Jesus represent the bread? Okay, so you see how Jesus represented the rod? Resurrection. Bread represented life. Was Jesus the bread of life? He said he was, right? Yes. Was Jesus did Jesus represent the 10 Commandments?
Yes.
Why? Because he fulfilled all of the law. Okay? Now, this ark was placed in the holiest of holy places, not only the place, but the most sacred object that the Jews